I want you to be completely honest with yourself for a second. Think back over the last 12 months. Like, how many books did you actually read last year?
Ooh, that is a dangerous question.
Right. And I don't mean reading a few work emails or, skimming a PDF for university or just scrolling through the daily news on your phone. I mean sitting down with a real book and reading it from the very first page to the last.
It usually is a much harder question to answer than most of us want to admit, honestly.
Yeah, totally. And if that number is a little lower than you want it to be, I want you to ask yourself why. Like, do you find it difficult to sit down with a book because your phone is constantly ringing? Is it buzzing in your pocket right now?
Probably. I mean, mine is.
Exactly. Or maybe you just feel like you're way too busy, and by the time you have a free minute, you're just too tired to focus on anything.
We live in a world where we have access to more information than ever before,
Mhm.
yet we somehow have far less time and energy to actually focus on any of it. Our attention is just constantly divided.
Well, today we are going on a deep dive to solve that exact problem. Our mission today is to explore the secret power of daily reading.
It really is a superpower, you know.
It is. We're going to look at how building this one simple habit can completely change your life, how it acts as a protective shield for your mind as you age, and most importantly for you listening right now, how reading is the ultimate natural way to improve your spoken English.
Yeah, we are going to look at the actual mechanisms behind this because it's one thing to hear that reading is good for you, right? It's entirely different to understand the biology of what is actually happening inside your brain when you open a book.
But before we can even touch on learning English vocabulary, we need to understand what picking up a book actually does to a physically tired brain.
Right.
I mean, the best way to look at this is to think of the human brain like a highly complex muscle. It needs very specific types of training.
Exactly. Like if you decide you want to run a marathon, you can't just wake up and run 20 miles.
No, you would collapse.
Right. You have to train your legs every day. You build that physical strength slowly. Well, your brain works under the exact same biological rules. When you read, you're putting your brain through a fantastic workout.
You're actively building new neural pathways,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Let me push back on that idea for a second, though. If
Yeah.
I spend 2 hours looking at my phone, reading little text messages, or reading short captions on social media, I am still reading words. Isn't that giving my brain a workout, too?
It is using your brain, sure, but it is a radically different type of activity. Scrolling through social media is just passive consumption.
Ah, I
Your
see.
brain is just rapidly switching from one tiny context to another every 3 seconds. You know, a funny video, then a sad news story, then a picture of a dog.
Right.
That rapid switching actually causes mental exhaustion.
Let me try to put it like this. Scrolling on social media for 2 hours is basically like eating junk food for your mind.
Oh, I like that comparison.
Yeah, like it tastes good in the moment, it's super easy to consume, but it leaves you feeling sluggish and totally empty afterward. Whereas sitting down to read a real book is like eating a healthy, home-cooked meal.
That is a perfect analogy. Because reading a book requires a different kind of energy. It forces your mind to actively construct reality.
Like turning black ink on a white page into a movie in your head.
Exactly. You have to remember the characters, track
Yeah.
the plot, and visually imagine completely new worlds. And scientists have discovered that this specific type of mental workout keeps your memory sharp as you get older.
Wait, really? It actually protects your memory?
Yes, it literally acts as a protective shield for your mind. And just 15 minutes of reading a day is like taking your brain to the gym.
Okay, I hear that, but let's be realistic here. Let's say I just finished a really long, stressful day at work, or I just spent 6 hours studying at university.
Right, you're exhausted.
Completely fried. I mean, following a complex plot seems like the absolute last thing I want to do. If I'm already tired, isn't that healthy, home-cooked meal going to feel like just too much hard work?
That's a great question. But we have to separate mental exhaustion from nervous system stress. When you're tired and you scroll through your phone to relax, you might feel like you're resting.
Yeah, I'm just lying on the couch.
Right. But those screens are actually keeping your nervous system in a state of high alert. The blue lights, the fast movements, they trigger a mild fight or flight response.
So the phone is secretly stressing me out while I'm resting.
Exactly. Your heart rate stays elevated.
Hmm.
But reading is completely different. Studies show that reading a book for just 6 minutes is enough to completely shift your nervous system.
Just 6 minutes. That's like Nothing.
It's incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Because when you read, you enter a quiet, singular environment. You escape your daily worries. Within 6 minutes, your heart rate noticeably slows down, your muscles relax. It's one of the cheapest, healthiest ways to reduce stress.
Wow. So reading relaxes the body and sharpens the mind. It's a complete reset.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we use this sharp, relaxed brain to finally stop struggling with English vocabulary? I know a lot of people listening are learning English right now.
Right. And to understand how to do it right, we should first look at why traditional methods fail. I mean, think about how most people try to learn English in school.
Oh, I remember this. You get a piece of paper, you write down a list of long, boring words, and you just try to memorize them.
And what happens the very next day?
You forget all of them. The words just vanish.
Exactly. Because our brains are simply not designed to remember isolated, unattached data. To your brain, a list of random English words is useless data, so it actively deletes it.
So what's the secret? How do we fix that?
The secret is learning words in context, seeing how words are actually used in a real sentence.
Okay, give me an example of how that works in practice.
Sure. Let's imagine you're reading a mystery novel in English.
Ooh, I love a good mystery.
Right, so someone has stolen a painting, the police are confused, and the detective is searching a dark room for answers.
Okay, I'm hooked.
As you read, you might see the word clue for the very first time. You have no idea what clue means. You've never seen it.
Do I stop and look it up in a dictionary?
No, you just keep reading. You read that the detective finds a clue on the carpet. Then a few pages later, he looks for another clue near a broken window.
Ah, okay.
He tells his partner that this clue will help them catch the thief. By the end of the chapter, you've seen the word 5 or 6 times.
And even without a dictionary, my brain just figures it out. It's something small, on the floor, helps catch a thief. It's evidence.
Exactly. And the best part is that this allows you to absorb the language naturally, exactly like a child does. Because you learn the word clue while trying to solve a mystery, it's permanently stuck in your memory.
That makes so much sense. Now let me ask you, listening right now, what kind of books do you think are best for people who want to practice their English?
Oh, this is a really important point.
Yeah, because I see a very common trap. People decide they want to learn English and they immediately buy some huge, complicated novel like Shakespeare or something.
Yeah, that is a disaster.
And then the language is way too hard, they understand nothing, and they give up after 3 pages.
Choosing a book that is way too difficult completely ruins the process. Context only works when you generally understand what is happening in the story.
Like keeping it at a B1 level where you know most of the words.
Exactly. You need to already understand the general situation so your brain can guess the meaning of the few new words. If you don't understand anything, there's no context, there's just frustration.
So pick a book that feels accessible, keep sentences relatively clear, but here's my question. What actually keeps us turning the pages long enough to learn that new vocabulary?
Well, that comes down to the emotional connection we make with the story.
The emotional connection.
Yeah. We learn vocabulary best when we are deeply invested in the story. And the reason we get invested is empathy.
Empathy. Let's make sure we define that clearly. That's the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person, right?
Exactly. Reading a novel is basically a simulator for human empathy. It lets us step into someone else's shoes and experience their happiness, their fears, their challenges.
So, for example, I might be sitting on a bus, but in my mind, I'm experiencing the life of a doctor working in a tiny, remote village.
Right. Or you're feeling the intense anxiety of an artist trying to survive in a big, expensive city. You are practicing how to see the world through someone else's eyes.
That's incredible. Let me ask the listener an imaginative question from our deep dive materials today. If you could step into the shoes of any fictional character for one day, who would you choose?
That's a great question to think about.
Because, that emotional attachment, that empathy we feel for the character is basically the glue that makes the new English vocabulary stick in your memory.
It absolutely is the glue. High emotion equals high memory retention. Plus, by experiencing these different lives on the page, we become more open-minded, understanding, and kinder human beings in real life.
Wow. So it makes you better at English and just a better person overall?
Exactly.
Okay, so we know exactly why we should read, for our brain, our vocabulary, and our empathy. But how do we actually build this habit in our super busy lives? Let's get into some actionable advice.
This is where we have to be intensely practical. The secret to starting this habit is to start very, very small.
How small are we talking?
Don't promise to read for an hour every night. that is just too hard to maintain. Aim for just 5 or 10 pages a day.
Just 5 pages. Wait, really? That feels like almost nothing.
It feels like nothing, which is exactly why it works. The goal isn't to read a whole book in a week. The goal is consistency. Keep a book next to your bed or carry an e-reader in your bag.
Right, so you can read while waiting for the bus or drinking your morning coffee. Just make it a natural part of your daily routine.
Exactly. Yeah. But there is one crucial rule here. You must choose books you actually enjoy.
Oh, this brings up a fun question for you listening. Do you prefer reading physical paper books, digital ebooks, or maybe listening to audiobooks? And why?
Yeah, the format doesn't matter as much as the content.
But let me push back on the habit building for a second. What if I set a goal to read 10 pages a day? I'm carrying my e-reader everywhere, but halfway through the book, I realize I absolutely hate it.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Right, but I'm trying to build a habit. Shouldn't I just force myself to finish it? Because it's good for me.
No, absolutely not. If it is boring, close it and find another one immediately.
Really, just quit.
Yes. Forcing yourself to read a boring book is a terrible idea, especially when learning a language. Reading should be a pleasure, not a chore. If you hate the story, your brain is stressed, and you won't remember any of the new English vocabulary anyway.
Wow, that's such a relief to hear. You officially have permission to quit boring books, everyone.
Exactly. Just find a story you love.
All right, let's briefly summarize all the incredible benefits we've discussed today. We learned that just 15 minutes of reading a day is literally a gym workout for your brain.
And just 6 minutes is enough to lower your stress and relax your body.
We also found out that learning B1 vocabulary in context by actually enjoying a story is a million times better than memorizing boring lists.
Because reading builds empathy by letting you step into other people's shoes.
And finally, to build the habit, just start with 5 to 10 enjoyable pages a day.
Exactly. Just 5 pages.
So as we wrap up, I want you to think about the last book you finished. What was the plot about? And honestly, did you actually enjoy it?
If the answer is no, then today is the perfect day to start a new one.
Definitely. And I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative thought before we go.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, we talked about how reading in our native language builds empathy, right?
Right.
And reading in English helps us learn naturally, like a child.
Yeah, through context.
So what if we combine them? Could reading stories from entirely different cultures, but reading them in English, do more than just change our vocabulary?
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could it actually rewire our brains to feel more connected to the entire world? Like a global shared empathy through language?
That is a beautiful idea to think about.
I'm going to leave you with that thought to chew on. Go find a great book, try reading it in English, and see where it takes you. Happy reading, everyone!